All right, everybody. So let's go over some opportunities that were available today, the springs and upthrusts and all of that. So on the ES, it actually came from off of the daily. So if you look over here on the upper left-hand corner, this was the spring. This is 45.47 and this is 45.45. So what happened was the market went to 45.45 and then bang, you had this this change of behavior or this responsive buying or this sign of strength. Basically the idea is someone bought and they bought good amount. This gave a pullback here and it just went up after that. So this is spring off of the daily chart. You couldn't really see it off of you could do it off of an hourly if you went far enough, but this is off of the daily. It's a daily spring, and look what happened. So this was the opportunity. There was one other potential opportunity, but it didn't really pan out, and that is when the market, because not everything's going to work. So it hit this high on the hourly. You see that 45.97. When it went to 45.97, you had that I forgot what this candle is called, but it's like a reversal, right? I don't remember what's the name, but I mean it's pretty clear. It looked like an upthrust, meaning it tagged and the market failed to have follow through. In other words, it failed to have a follow through green bar. Instead, it had a bearish bar that closed back within the range. Now, the third thing to look at, there's a bearish bar that closed back into the range, is the selling pressure. So it's selling pressure here. This is not convincing. So let's just refresh. This selling pressure is slightly bigger than the prior selling pressure, but it's not really heavy selling pressure. Meaning it's not like the biggest selling pressure in multiple downswings or the biggest volume in multiple downswings. And therefore, it's more like a pullback and less like a dominant change of behavior which can cause a trend change. Market went to this upthrust position. It upthrusted the high here. I should keep the prices on it. There it is. So the 4597, 4597 was upthrusted here by the this candle which went to 4608, and then from that area we want to see responsive selling, heavy selling. It closed back within the range and all of that, but I want to see if sellers are establishing a position there. And they did some selling, but it's not very strong selling. So this trade is kind of like a hit or miss. It's it's prices can definitely go higher because this type of selling is just not that strong. As you can see from this indicator here, it's only bigger than one wave. So it's more selling than the prior wave, but the prior wave is like a little shit wave right here. So it's not gonna change. The only good thing that it had was that market breadth of the Nasdaq has turned. Meaning on this high, market breadth has not made a higher high. So if market breadth is not confirming higher highs, there's chances of a higher high diminish on the other markets. Chances are it's going to basically stall or range or consolidate. right? And it might change trend. It may work, may not work. The only good thing that it has going for it from a bearish perspective is on this selling wave, the market breadth made a lower low. The selling within the market, though, within the ES, though, is not that strong. Anyway, so that we're done with that. Let's take a look at crude. This market was such a pain in the ass. Let me show you. So I'm looking at this market, and it is very clear at this point. At this point, you have a potential for a spring, right? Because it where is this? You see this low? It took out the prior two lows, and when it did that, it couldn't break down. Instead, you had this situation. You see that V bottom reversal? So this V bottom over here, it had some strength to it, meaning the spring on the hourly looks like this in the 5-minute, where it had like a, what do you call, a break to the upside with this breakout. And then it pulled back some, and then it made this high. But the problem is that the thing went from a spring to an upthrust, meaning it could not break through this area. It needed to bust through, but instead, it pulled back, and then it went back up here. And what I noticed was that these ranges are so tight, meaning lack of volatility, that you're just going to go from spring to upthrust to spring. So in that situation, because of the tight range here and the pivots here, stacked next to each other, you had a spring, but that tapped the high and upthrusted the high, and you had an upthrust. So this situation happens, and you don't know which side to go with. So you have to kind of like use your judgment, because it's in an upthrust position. It's in a spring position, which put it in an upthrust position. So this happens, and you just don't know. And both sides are very strong. This wave is the biggest in 20 waves. This down wave is the biggest in 18 down waves. Both are very strong. So in this situation, what happened was market went pulled back, tested, broke here, and then started going sideways. I thought that the bulls are going to win because there's all this space up here, so chances are it's going to pull back and test, above here, or at least above there, above 77.07. But the upthrust was just, it just stood in the way. And what happened? You had a sell-off. All right. So this is, these are the nuances of springs and upthrusts that sometimes when you have a range that's tight on your higher time frame, the spring will lead to an upthrust, and the upthrust will lead to a spring because it's a tight range. So in that situation, you have to be a little, you have to use judgment, be ready to get out, expect that, there's going to be two-sided trade, springs, upthrust, and you just have to, A, keep short profit targets, B, get ready to change your judgment to the downside immediately. That's all you can do. Or you can not trade it and just wait until there's some expansion, and then you'll have a clearer range to play with, a clearer range to take your trades off of, and higher, bigger profit targets. So this was the situation here, where this right here was a spring on the hourly, which set up this rally, which basically was in upthrust position, and the bears sold. And when they sold, basically couldn't get above the high, and you had all of this damage here. So, there's nothing you can do about this. just move on to the next. So really the best trading opportunity here, there were two of them. If you went short with the bears and sold here, and if you went long with the bulls on the spring of the daily. Spring of the daily is very lucrative. If you can get a spring on the daily chart, I think you can make a lot of money. In fact, I think the moves are just, they're very immediate, because I think there's a lot of stops that are on, they get washed out. And it's really worth your while to not just look at low, hourly based time frames, but look on the daily for springs and upthrusts, because they give massive reward really quick. I mean, look at this thing. It was it's not even a hard trade. Down, up, retest, bang. Straight. So, yeah, spring on the dailies, I think, is a major moneymaker. I'm not doing that yet, but because of the day trading technique, but it's definitely something to look into, which can yield tons of profits. Especially, if you learn how to trade, this would be an excellent strategy. All right, thank you. Bye. Oh, maybe I'll go over one more, nat gas, just to show you guys that it happens on other markets. So here you had a spring situation. Was it here? Yeah, it was right there. So, and this low on the hourly. Oh shoot! 1 second. This low got taken. As the low got taken, the buyers stepped up and said, you know what? Let's buy. Here's your spring. The spring. Change of behavior from the spring or responsive buying. It tested, held, boom. Right up there. And when it went up here, the funny thing is, it goes into an upthrust position. Again, when you're trading ranging markets or choppy market, you're gonna get tons of this. So it went into upthrust. When it went into upthrust position, and look, before I go any further, I know it's a spring and all that shit because of the strength of the buying. I'm trying to quantify it. You can quantify it with any factor you want. Volume, Weiss wave, big wave, that. Whatever it is that you want to use. I know it's bigger than 17 waves, so what do you think? Is this weak? No, of course not. And then when it goes into upthrust position, you have the biggest in 8 down waves setting up the upthrust. So you have a trade here that go boom, pops, and then selling, tests, and goes down. So this is just, on the, on the natural gas market. So, let me just get a handle of this strategy on, two markets, because I want to trade multiple markets. I've been wanting to do that as a goal for some time. But at the same time, you don't really need to trade many markets to make money. And, there's pros and cons, so you just have to figure out, what's the best situation, because the only reason to trade multiple markets is because there are times when certain markets, they're just dead, and other markets are just flowing. They're just, the money's coming in. Those sectors or whatever are very strong, and the money is just coming in. And trading multiple markets will then optimize your trade. When the grain markets, when they move, there's tons of money to be made. And when the ES, like during summer months and all this and that, it becomes a very choppy and all of that. So that's the only real reason to go into multiple markets, is because you can optimize your trades into the best market at that time and get massive moves. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Again, I'm doing this for the community, to show, and also because the David's Weiss material. There are very few traders who really understand it. I am one of them, and there are others, but stuff online is there's a lot of Wyckoff stuff online that just doesn't that's not practical. That cannot be used. Try it, you see it cannot be used. What David did was he actually made it practical and executable for intraday trading. For intraday trading, he made it because that's what he used to do. And I think that that's a very valuable skill to have. So I'm just going to, share it. All right, take care, guys. Bye.